The Speaker recognizes Representative Schor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today in opposition to this legislation. And I'm proud to vote no on this bill, and I'm proud to do it with my children sitting up in the gallery right behind me watching. I want to speak today about the effect this legislation will have on my schools and my students in the Lansing School District. Lansing is unique. Eastern High School in the Lansing School District is home to students speaking dozens of languages because they're recent immigrants. Walk the halls and listen to the international students from the Congo, Burma, Nepal, and the world. Eastern must teach these students to learn a new language and then teach them how to learn. These kids are great and they want to learn and be productive students here in Michigan because in Lansing, diversity is an asset. But to the state and to the EAA that we're discussing today, those new students must pass the same tests given to other, more naturally privileged kids, or our Lansing students are considered a failure. Governor Snyder talks about the need for immigrants here in Michigan and the importance of having communities that are welcoming to all in order to attract talent and bring jobs to Michigan. Well, I say to my colleagues, I agree with the governor. When the children come to America, we need these students to succeed and lead, but the road to success can be bumpy. Lansing knows how to embrace diversity and make these students successful, but it takes time, it takes an investment, and not fewer resources directed towards education and schools being taken over as it is under this legislation. Lansing does have students with challenges. We have a wide variety of socioeconomic backgrounds, some middle class, some lower income working families. Our new superintendent and our school board is working through these problems. To help our students, there are now priority schools under the legislation passed a few years ago, and they've chose the transformational model, one of the 4 allowed under the Race to the Top legislation. Now this legislation before us today will have them taken over by an unaccountable authority. Eastern High School replaced its principal, has complied with the 11 other requirements. The problem there is not that the school district is missing the mark, it's that the mark keeps changing. Lansing schools are complying with current law and helping more and more students to succeed. And now the law is poised to change once again. EAA does not use the same metrics or assessment instruments to determine student achievement as do the schools that are currently identified as priority. The EAA reform model is not comprehensive, nor does it consider the whole child, as it only focuses on content mastery. There are no options for extracurricular activities like sports, band, orchestra, visual performing arts, career technical education, special education, English learners, and things like that. EAA is not required to employ high qualified teachers, just like the No Child Left Behind requires. Under No Child Left Behind, all public schools are required to use high qualified teachers. So again, we're asking for something different from our schools and our children. Additionally, the No Child Left Behind Act already has in place the provision for state takeovers of schools by the Michigan Department of Education and the State Board of Education, who are elected representatives of the public. This EAA legislation will create a parallel educational bureaucracy when we already have a state education agency. So we know the State Department of Education is accountable to the people on the elected school board, and also accountable to the U.S. Department of Education because we're required to follow the No Child Left Behind requirements. But we really don't know who the EAA is accountable to. Instead of passing this legislation, Mr. Speaker, my solution is that we help our local schools do better. This legislation is not good for our students, our parents in Lansing or in other schools, and I hope you will join me in voting against it. Thank you.